Thanks for of the return of Crew Dragon Endeavour, along with astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley from their 63-day stay aboard the International Space Station on this demonstration mission 2.
It's been a pretty action-packed day for the crew. Bob and Doug, who are currently asleep on board Capsule Endeavour. But today started off pretty early for them. They managed to sneak in a nap, get sleep shifted for all the operations they had. And then around noon today Pacific time, around 7 o'clock, they had some cargo loading to do in the capsule. Formation of 2 goes for the primary landing site at Pensacola, Florida, weather being acceptable there to attempt today undocking and get us to where we are in today's mission.
So with that successful weather call and that cargo loaded into Crew Dragon, it was time for the astronauts to load up into Crew Dragon. So they said farewell to their counterparts on the International Space Station. Still on board are NASA astronaut Chris Cassidy and Roscosmos cosmonauts Anatoly Ivanishin and Ivan Wagner, and they compose the Expedition 63 crew. So our astronauts, Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley, headed into Crew Dragon and put on their spacesuits and closed the Dragon hatch, and that really began the conclusion of Dragon's time aboard the International Space Station.
Once we sealed up the forward hatch on the Dragon spacecraft, and once Bob and Doug were in their suits, we did a quick leak check on the suit systems, verified that they were healthy to proceed with the next steps, where Commander Chris Cassidy aboard the International Space Station closed the APAS hatch on the pressurized mating adapter on the International Space Station. That's really the hatch that separates the Dragon, we really have the Dragon spacecraft with the forward hatch, and then the APAS hatch on the International Space Station side that creates a little pressurized volume in between them that we refer to as the vestibule. And so that sealed off that volume, and then Commander Cassidy actually went ahead and closed the forward hatch on Node 2 on the International Space Station, and that cleared the way for us to step into vestibule depressurization, which was the next major milestone before undocking.
So bringing that vestibule down to a vacuum, since once Crew Dragon departed, that is what the area would be exposed to, is the vacuum of space. And that's stepping through that procedure, everything went well. The leak checks were completed successfully, and Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley and Crew Dragon Endeavour received the go to undock from the International Space Station. So that happened over the course of a few minutes. That undock command was sent at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, 11:30 p.m. GMT, or the time we use aboard the International Space Station. And that undock command, as we said, that really triggers into motion a few things. One of those being the detachment of the umbilical. That umbilical provided power from the space station to Dragon during its docked operations. And we also saw those 12 hooks that were keeping Dragon firmly secured to the hatch. Those retracted, and 2 short burns later, one at 1.5 seconds and the other at about 5 seconds, those were all we needed to bring Crew Dragon away from the hatch and begin its journey home.
That's right, those burns using the service section Dracos, very short bursts, got us into our next 2 burns that were a little bit longer, I think coming in at about 12 seconds and I think 20 seconds each, were the Depart 0 burn and the Depart 1 burn. Both of those burns helping to bring Dragon up and over the space station, bringing us into a slightly higher orbit. From that higher orbit, the space station was able to sneak ahead of Dragon, and then from there we actually conducted the Depart burn 2, a little bit longer of a burn, or on the order of about 40 seconds, and we used that to lower our perigee, coupled with Depart Burn 3 later on, which ultimately brought Dragon into a co-elliptic orbit about 10 kilometers below the space station, but on roughly the same ellipse as the space station.
Yeah, and so Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley, after that Depart Burn 0 and 1, they were actually good to get out of their spacesuits, put on some more comfortable clothes for the next part of the ride, and they'll be able to stay in those relaxing clothes and out of those spacesuits until just before the deorbit burn. They'll need to suit up again, but that's not until tomorrow.